everyone, my name is Bruce Tummill and I am the Director of Video Production at BlackRock, and it is my pleasure to share with you my power passage today. Now before we get into it, I just want to tell you a couple things. I'm wearing these sunglasses not because I think I'm cool, but because actually 2 weeks into COVID, my eyes got completely bloodshot. And I called doctors and went through the normal stuff and thinking, oh, maybe it's pink eye or something like that. But I will tell you that after about 6 weeks, 4 doctor's visits, creams, ointments, they can't tell me much more than that I have some form of dry eye. So my question to you is, so what do you do when there's nothing you can do? What do you do when there's nothing you can do? So for me, I kept pressing on. But being the video guy at the church, needing my eyes presents a bit of a challenge, especially when we're going through a time where we need video and we're going virtual and everything more than ever. Now, thankfully, there's some people at the church that have been really helpful and kind of helping me out and doing a great job. But one day I got really frustrated. My eyes were burning, my drops weren't working, I couldn't even look at the computer for more than like half an hour without having to take like maybe a half an hour break. And so I reached out to my amazing fiance Tessa through text to share my feelings. I poured my heart out, I was vulnerable just like they taught us in Prep for Marriage. And this is how Tessa responds. Bruce, James 1, verse 2, James 1, 2 through 4 says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, that you may be mature and complete, lacking and not lacking anything." Now I have to admit, I was a little bit frustrated. I'm like, what? You know I've been suffering, you know what I've been dealing with, you know I've been praying for this to go away, and I don't have any answers, and that is your response? I was kind of frustrated with James and Tessa at this point. But, caveat, Tessa is one of the most caring and loving and empathetic persons that I know, and directly after that text was another text saying kind of some really kind words to me. But anyway, I decided to take a look at this verse because I felt that it was no coincidence that she sent it to me. So the first thing I realized that it is written by James, Jesus' brother, who faced so many challenges leading the church in Jerusalem for about 30 years after Jesus' death. So I'm like, Jesus' brother led the church right after basically the resurrection. Got to pay attention to this guy. And so I'm reading it down, and right, the word test and trial is in there. And so I started to think about, like, well, what do they mean? And what is a test? Well, right, if we look at a test or a trial, it exposes what's true and what's not true. And in this case, I feel what James is talking about is these trials expose the authenticity of our faith. Right? The authenticity of our faith. And the word faith here is, I feel, referred to as our confidence in God. So it exposes the authenticity of our faith in God. And when do you really discover those moments? In the trial. So let me be clear. James and even Tessa aren't saying trials are joyful. And I don't think that's what this verse is saying either. Trials are tough. Some of them are downright brutal. But they expose our faith, and they can be times of major growth and reliance in connection with God. For me, this has been the case, right? Some of my biggest trials in life, I can look back and say, wow, that was tough, but it really grew my faith. Or, hey, that was tough, but that was the best thing that ever happened. Nothing can mold us more into the image of Christ like struggle and suffering. The question is, can we consider that joy? Can we consider the outcome of trials and the struggles growing us and molding us to be more like Christ joyous? That's the question. Some years ago, I had a family member that got into a really bad accident. They were in a coma. They had some brain bleeding. And in that moment, I realized that I didn't have the confidence in God that I thought I did. I believed in him, but my faith, my confidence in him, at the time I was only maybe in my young 20s, and I felt like when the rubber hit the road, it just wasn't there. My faith was in some ways a borrowed faith, right? And I find out quickly that the faith that I thought I had was not really there. It was during that trial that I really dug into God's Word and began connecting with the Lord. And ultimately, that was the catalyst that brought me back to the church because I had left. And ultimately, that's the catalyst to why I'm here where I am today, working at Black Rock Church. I dug in, I really met who the Lord was, and I fell so in love with him that I wanted to help people, and I wanted to kind of work with the church and make a difference. And so that trial is what led me here to Black Rock Church, and I have immense joy in that. So thank you for letting me share with you today, and have a great day.